Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, TheRumpledOne, coming to you on Thursday, October the 27th. The year's 2022. Let's talk trading. Seeing versus looking for part 4 with Walmal. As always, these videos are for educational purposes only. Your results may differ from mine and different from Walmal. Walmal, we ran out of time again yesterday.
Yeah, we did. We seem to do that a lot.
Well, it's probably good, we only do these 15-minute videos. Otherwise, we'd probably be talking for hours and nobody wants to watch that. So, let's see, where do we leave off?
Well, we're talking about the difference. What's the difference between seeing and looking? And I just looked up while I was waiting on you to give me a call here. I looked up a definition or not a definition, but some quotes about it. And the one that I came across that seems very, very interesting is from a Margaret Doris. And she said, the art of seeing has to be learned. And I think that is kind of where we left off yesterday, because I was saying that, you can sit there, you have to sit there, put the seat time in and actually learn. You have to go and actually learn. And I like the word that she used of art. Okay, because I know you can go and write an EA, and there's some people out there that are very successful writing an EA that under condition A, B, and C you do X, and if you do that, enough times you'll make a lot of money, and you just got to be able to go and see those conditions of A, B, and C that go and do that, and that's the art form of it, I think, as well, because it is empirical. There's no question about it. It's absolutely empirical in the sense that, we have statistics that give us an edge. We've got, the nice thing is that we got candles that help us. We got bar charts and moving averages and whatever else that's out there that can go and help us, and that's all great and fine and good. But the thing is, I think there's a little bit more to it. You have a famous saying that you say to me all the time. I need to find this one last piece, or something along those lines, right? And I think that last piece, at least for me anyway, is the idea of art. The difference, people going, my father was a mathematician. And that's what he did as he was a professor. He worked on all types of projects as a mathematician. He worked for insurance companies. He worked for defense contractors. He worked for a lot of people working as a mathematician. And I remembered asking him a question, and the question was, how come mathematics is always in the humanities department and not in the sciences department? And he said to me, because math is an art. Arithmetic is a science. So once you've gone and figured out, you use the math, you go and look at the art, and you figure it out from the perspective of being an art. And then once you've got that, then you can empirically sit down and put a system around it that says when A, B, and C happens, you do X. But until you've gone and learned that piece, that art piece, you can't do that. And that's probably one of the greatest things that, in terms of my career anyway, as an engineer, one of the greatest things that I learned, because as an engineer, one of the bad things about being an engineer is that, you do A, B, and C and expect result, D. And what I had to go and learn was that, no, you do A, B, and C, and then what you do is around X, you go and put a bracket. And I think I told you, Tiro, that, when you build a bridge, you always build a tolerance of 10-fold around it so that the bridge doesn't fall down because of things that you didn't think about or see. And I think we have to do that with trading as well.
Well, the one thing about seeing, I think it's something, there's a video I did a real long time ago. It might have even been the first year I did it, where I asked people, I think I even did it out on the one of the forums. I said, what do you see? And people would talk about, well, it's trending, or there's support here, there's resistance there. And I said, no, that's not it. I said, what you see is you see some green rectangles and lines and some red rectangles and lines. That's what you see. Everything else, all those other things are conceptual. And that's why I think that's the big difference is that, what do you actually see? You can see that price, if you look at the M5 on the pound, has just gone up over 10 pips. I see that. There's no debate about that because it's not a conception. Price has gone from what was it? 1564 to 1591 in this one candle. 32 pips now. It's huge.
Right.
But, what was I looking for? Well, I was looking for it to, break the 70 line before I would go long. I was looking for, breaking the 60 line before I would go short. I was looking for, do I have enough wicks underneath the current level that, it's probably going to go up from here. Those are all things I would look for. Is it breaking the previous H1 high or low? Where is it in the rat zone? Those are all things I look for. But what I actually see is basically just movement up and down.
Right.
On the current candle. And that's what's so hard about it. So because the art, I think, is not seeing. I think the art is in looking for, because it's like, oh yeah, I can basically do a pattern match. And that's what when you look for, that's what you're doing. You're doing pattern. Your brain's doing a bunch of pattern matching.
Right. Yeah, and it's funny that you say that because the new term for that, because of course, we don't invent new things. All we do is rename things, but they call that puzzle art therapy now. When you do that, why they call it PAT or puzzle art therapy? Why they would, pattern matching is pattern matching, but we had to go and change the name of it for so somebody else could get a doctorate, I guess. But
yes, or they can sell you the same stuff under a different name.
Exactly.
It's all marketing. It's all marketing.
You're exactly right. And it's funny because, it reminds me of something I had read a long time ago where they said the average person who goes into the Louvre and goes and looks at the Mona Lisa, and arguably could be considered one of the greatest pieces of art, whether it is or it isn't, I'm not going to make that judgment, but arguably it's definitely up there in the top 5, top 10. And the average person looks at that piece of art for 15 seconds or less, and you think about all the detail that is in that, and especially if you go on and actually say, I'm not saying look at that picture, I mean go there and look at it, and you see all the detail, you see all the crevices, and you see all the lines and contours and all the things that were done in terms of shadow and all those things, and the average person looks at it for 15 seconds. And I'm getting to a point here, and the point is that unfortunately a lot of our friends who are just starting out to trade, the 95% who don't make it, what they do is they look at trading for 15 seconds. And that's all they're doing, and they're not seeing all of the other nuances and contours and lines and stuff that's there that can help you and formulate what your plan is. And the thing is, everybody who's ever listened to me before knows that my whole concept is keep it simple, and it is. But at the same time, am I contradicting myself by saying, look at all the things that are there? Well, my point is, okay, you see all the things are there. How do you go and basically consolidate all that information that's there into an understanding of what is a high probability that the market's going to do what you think the market's going to do? And how do you then go and execute that? How do you get in and get out? And over the years, I've come to a conclusion. It's more important how you get out than how you get in, and it just, to me anyway, it just comes down to that. And I'm just, by looking at all these lines and all these charts, whether they be line charts, whether they be bar charts or candlestick charts, the price is the price is the price, and it's going to cross a line. You take the trade when it crosses the line, and then the art comes in. What's your decision on how you're going to get out? When you make the decision you're going to stay, when are you going to make the decision that you're going to get out? And that, to me anyway, that's the pragmatic part of trading.
That's kind of interesting that you put it that way. Yesterday, or actually the past 2 days, I had been taking some classes at the local community college, and yesterday the classes were on the second floor, and they have like a balcony you can look out onto the first floor. And I noticed, it's like, hey, there's some cool paintings on the wall. So I looked at them, then I go, okay, let me go down and check them out up close. And it's amazing how when you're, say, I don't know, 50 feet away, because these were some big paintings, it looks one way, but when you get up close, it's totally different.
Oh, yeah.
When you can see the strokes and the texture. And there was this one painting where it was like the side of an apartment building that had like fire escape, those metal ladders. And it was like all the detail that painter had to do. And I'm wondering, did they paint this one first? Did they paint that one first? Did they go back and fill in these colors? It was, it was pretty amazing. And then there was this other one that had kind of like faces and shadows. And then there was another one that was basically like the side of a building, with the sun on it, casting a shadow. And there was all these lines, and I'm thinking, did they have like tape and they just painted and then pulled the tape? Because these lines are awfully straight and awfully fine. It's just like, I was just wondering what their technique was. But yeah, it's part of that, once again, looking for versus seeing. And maybe there's something else. There's looking at, where you're just looking at something. You're not looking for something. I guess that might be when I say see, it's like, well, what do you see? And it's just the sensory specific language versus, trying to put some concept, like trend or some bias or something.
Well, and that's the thing, we talk about that a lot, and that is that, concept, people make decisions on how they're going to trade based on concepts. About a year or two ago, again, we were talking, it was all the rage all over the internet was talking about imbalances and order blocks and all that, and that seems to have kind of died down a little bit. And all that really was, if you really got down to it, was your rat trade to a certain extent. Because all it was trade. When the market got to an extreme, he traded back towards the middle because the market likes to go back to some type of equilibrium. That's all it was, But they put, a concept around it, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the thing is, understand that all that is a concept. It's or actually, I'll go a step further. It's not just a concept; it's a construct. You've constructed something around something that you see as a pattern on the charts. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with that, because I'm a very structural person. That's why on every one of my charts, I've got lines. I got my Walmal lines. Even if I'm not trading Walmal lines, I still have them there because it helps me understand how far the market's moving and how quickly it's moving. It gives me a lot of structure around that, which is a good thing.
By the way, I just noticed that the euro dollar is under par right now. It's at 0.9986. Yeah, but we were talking about that earlier, how it busted above that par line for the last day or two, and now it seems to have gone down the other way, right. Which is interesting because the eurozone went and raised their interest rate. So yeah, but you know what else is interesting? We've run out of time. The fastest 15 minutes in trading is up. So, fellow traders, once again, looking for or looking at versus seeing. Just check out what you're doing, because always remember and never forget, it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks. This is the Rumpled One, over and out.